let's go ahead and introduce these lovely players here, spawning at the bottom right corner of the map. He's got many fans across the world playing for Regular Edge Gaming. It is ZEST. And spawning here at the top left corner of the map, playing for Alpha X. He's the blue Zerg player, hailing from Korea. Give it up for RAGNAROK. I gotta say that these days, one of my favorite matchups to see is ZEST versus Zerg. Of course, he's kind of really helped define the PvZ meta the past couple of years, actually. He's always the one kind of innovating builds. Just kind of changing the meta, making PvZ fun for not only Protoss but also for everyone, all the viewers. And yeah, I can't stress enough how much I love ZEST's recent PvZ build with those triple Stargate play. I'm pretty sure he's gonna pull out at least one time in this series. I mean, if you were to have to make a bet on it, I would say there's a pretty good chance he's gonna pull that build out. Now he might mix up with like maybe a DT build or glaive of depth builds off the start, but I definitely would expect him to pull out that build at least once. Of course, we'll see very soon as that cybernetic core is finished. Let's see what is gonna go on here. Yep, looks like no warp gate tech are being researched, which usually indicates a Stargate opening. Now, the Protoss can of course try to meta and mind game the Zerg player by pretending to go Stargate and then just like, you know, throw down a Twilight Council instead. But most of the time, Protosses who just kind of delays their warp tech are using the extra gas to invest into a faster and quick Stargate, a nice timed Stargate. So that's kind of a good indicator for all you Zerg players out there in terms of scouting. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if RAGNAROK does go dive in here with that Overlord. There's the chance that he might sack it, or he might just go back into this little cliff area, this tower area, to stay safe. But with that Void Ray, I don't expect this Overlord to live very, very soon. Alright. Seems like RAGNAROK has an idea about the Stargate opening just by the opening of ZEST. And I definitely got confirmation with that Void Ray at the very least. So, throwing those Spore Callers up, making sure he doesn't die to a follow-up Oracle. And yeah, seems like everything is going to go ahead and become pretty normal now. Now the question is ZEST going to go ahead and transition into glaive Adept's 4-gate timing follow-up, or is he going to go ahead and establish his third and just go tech straight into add 2 more Stargate for a total of 3, and then start making those Void Rays? We shall see. My guess is we might see, yeah, the triple Stargate, because I have not yet seen the Twilight Council yet. You would imagine that the Twilight Council would be going down very soon. And RAGNAROK, I think maybe he's seen enough ZEST games or something, but I feel like, yeah, he is going straight into the Nidus Worm. He does not want to deal with, you know, this mass Void Ray shenanigans. The problem is that ZEST actually has a lot of vision in his main base, so he should be able to see when the Nidus is up in the main. But, oh, actually, before then, these Lings might actually get some nice significant damage, but with a nice little wall off, and or at least building positioning, looks like he should be fine. Nidus network is up. I think Zest, yeah, Zest was just not paying attention. He was distracted by these lanes. And oh boy, this is going to turn really, really ugly. There's no shield batteries here at the main base. All the Stargate productions are here in the main base. So if he loses this main base, he pretty much loses the game. And oh man, this is going to be quite ugly. And Ragnarok having the exact counter, the perfect counter for this build. The weakness about the Stargate play is that you're just not going to have a lot of ground units. And Void Rage just unfortunately does not kill Lings fast enough. They're not the best against Queens as well. These Queens can just go ahead and transfuse a number of days. And smartly, Ragnarok is going to go ahead and target that shield battery off the bat. And GG, Ragnarok. Off to a great strong start. We'll take game number 1 of this best of 5 series. So well done there. You know, there's so many theories or so many plays and decisions that Berserk can go for to counter this build that hasn't been utilized by a lot of players. I mean, I've seen like a lot of players trying to go for that Hydralisk timing. Doesn't quite work out. Some goes for Spire. Of course, Triple Stargate just pretty much counters that very easily, actually. I've seen actually double Hydralisk. That almost worked out. I think that's also one of the options that can pretty much work out if executed correctly. But then another one is what we've seen here with Ragnarok going for that early Nidus network. Now, a part of that loss came down to Zest not paying attention. If he was able to pay attention and just snipe off that Nidus network like off the start, I think it would have actually been really hard for him to break Zest from the outside, because he had the adepts to deal with the Lings at the third base. He had the shield batteries as well. So, and then if he wanted to, he can wall off the naturals. So who knows, maybe Ragnarok would have been able to still take the game if the first Nidus network wasn't able to go up, but we would never know. We will have to like kind of duplicate that game and go for that same scenario, but have the Nidus network, the first Nidus network sniped down, and then the second one placed at the outside of the natural. Who knows, maybe this game will be that game. But anyhow, let's go ahead and introduce the first player here at the top left corner of the map. Guys, he is the red protest player playing for Raise Your Edge Gaming. Give it up for Zest. And he is spawning at the bottom right corner of the map. He's the blue Zerg player, looking to extend his lead to 2-0 and go to match points. Playing for Alpha X. Can he do it, guys? It is a Ragnarok. And of course, Zest going for that early hatchery block. I don't think he was quite successful though, as that second hatchery gets plopped down. Oh wait, actually, I think he blocked it, and then Ragnarok faked going to the third, and then Zest went into the main base, and then that's when Ragnarok took the second base. I wasn't quite sure because I was introducing the players at the same time, so didn't quite get a look at it. But at the very least, Zest will be able to scout a little bit here in Ragnarok space. Should keep an eye out to see how many drones are out and about, because after Zerg gets and mine the first 100 minerals, or not the minerals, the first 100 gas, if Zerg continues to mine the gas with all 3 probes, then you know that's kind of a little bit of a tell, like something's a little fishy here. Because usually Zergs will pull at least 1 or 2 of the drones, or even maybe all 3 of the drones, and use them to mine the minerals and get that economy up and rolling. First Adept will be making his way across the map. Once again, Stargate has been elected by ZEST. We'll see if he goes for that same build. Of course, it didn't quite work out last time, but that's mainly because RAGNAROK did a really nice counter play against what ZEST was going for and was able to execute it. Well, this time around, actually going for Oracle first instead of Void Ray. Ah, I see. Gonna go for the Twilight Glaive Adepts follow-up here, which is pretty nice. We'll see if ZEST follows that up with a Void Ray or he elects to not go for it. I mean, I think you can probably skip it. I mean, there's only one Overlord here at the cliff area. The Stalker should be able to take care of that. But in the meantime, Spore Color actually not quite up yet. I think RAGNAROK was probably predicting that ZEST will go for a Void Ray opening first. Kind of delayed his Spore Color just a tad. But you know what? The Queen was there. Didn't quite lose as much drones as he could have possibly lost. Only loses 3, which is not too shabby. Considering the situation, of course. Usually Zergs that doesn't have their Spore Color up loses like, I think like 5 or maybe even 6 sometimes. But anyhow, that Overlord does get taken out, which means RAGNAROK is going to be pretty much be playing in the dark. He does have a second Overlord here at the top, but is quite far away. By that time, the Glaive Adept, the Glaive upgrades should be finished researching actually. So yeah, RAGNAROK is going to have to play kind of blind counter the build if he wants to survive. Immediately he is throwing down 7 roaches. So I think yeah, knowing that there is not a Void Ray out and about, I think he kind of maybe is guessing that, oh, okay, yeah, he's going to be an Adept follow-up here, because I mean there's no Void Ray, so there's got to be something with those gas. But anyhow, these first Adepts, these initial Adepts will, okay, I was about to say, will he actually let that shade finish? He decides not to, as there are a good amount of roaches here. And smartly, ZEST actually falls back a little bit. I can't see him really committing too hard to this. He only committed to a couple of Adepts here. He's actually not adding more Adepts to this army. And oh, nice little positioning there. Does catch that lane counterattack and behind the bushes or the grass area, which is really, really nice. Oh, but he's gotta be careful. Oh, actually, ZEST does loses that orc though. Seems like he was trying to plant down a stasis ward of some sort. Alright, ZEST adding a couple of good amount of Adepts here. Actually going up to 20 Adepts. I'm not sure if, at the very least, that he should be able to get the cancel, but is this too much of a commitment? Especially since roaches are already out here. Now the thing about Adepts that you can, if you have good numbers of Adepts, you can really, really, you know, kind of snowball a little bit, but the positioning of RAGNAROK so good. Gets the surround here. And ZEST just not quite finding too much damage. He is going to get a few drones here and there, but I mean, RAGNAROK has a lot of units out. Now, the good thing is that about this Adept, that even if this doesn't really quite work out, you at least force the Zerg to not over drone. So you can see that RAGNAROK not droning as hard. Also, in combination of losing those 10 drones, he is down 57 to 63, which is not a great place. You never really want to be down in workers versus a Protoss as Zerg. So really, what can Ragnarok do? I mean, he is gonna go ahead and try to transition into Aspire, but I believe that was scouted by the Adepts. Yeah, that was scouted by those Adepts. So as you can see, ZEST immediately researching that blink and making sure he does not die to those mutalisks. He's adding those cannons and those mineral lines. You should add actually a couple more in the main and natural, and probably in the dirt and the mineral lines. But he's going to go ahead and rely on these stalkers, these blink stalkers, to defend against that. Or you know what? Just go for a big, huge timing attack. Force the mutalisk to be at home defending. That is one way to counter this, and that is a lot. That's a huge, scary army there for ZEST, and that is a +1 versus +0 of Ragnarok. And yeah, this is gonna be a tough hold. If you can get some nice corrosive vials, maybe, but still, it's a tall order. Nice force field, kind of segmenting some of these roaches and ravagers, and also blocking these lings from getting on top of the army. Now he is running out of a force field energy, but that is no concern of ZEST as he takes the game. He just has too much on the ground for Ragnarok to handle, and ZEST will even up the series 1-1 with a nice little play there with the Adepts, and then follow up with a big timing push before those mutalisks can get out and about and start harassing his mineral lines, which could be pretty annoying as a Protoss. So really well done there by ZEST. And ZEST, one of those players that even if you have the right... Oops, sorry, just knocked the mic there a little bit. As I was saying, ZEST, one of those players that even if he goes Adepts and it gets kind of scouted out by the Zerg and really pretty much held, like he would like continuously shade in and out and about, kind of outmaneuver the Zerg, get some nice trades in, and somehow make those Adepts still work even after, you know, the Zerg has those roaches and lings to defend. So yeah, ZEST is just so deadly and lethal with those Adepts. It's just his one of the, like, if you think about Patience, right? Patience with his stalkers, you think of him really utilizing blink stalker play really well. Also parting as well, he's pretty good with blink stalkers. ZEST is also one of those players that, not with blink stalkers, but rather the Adepts. I think he is just so good at it. Anyhow, let's get into game number 3 here on Romanticide LE. Alright, here, spawning at the top left corner of the map. Spawning as the red Protoss representing Raise Your Edge Gaming. He is ZEST. And spawning here at the bottom right, he's the blue Zerg player playing for Alpha X. He is Ragnarok. And what do we have here? Immediately some cheeky play here coming out of Ragnarok. Going for that hatchery block. Coming out here with some cheese. Now, whether it's American cheese, whether it's Swiss cheese, whether it's brie cheese, we don't know. At the very least, we know it's Ragnarok cheese. And you know what? I kind of like it. I actually kind of like it. I mean, he knows that ZEST is so infamous for sending out his first pro to block his hatchery. He's like, hey, you know what? You can block my hatchery. I play at your game. I'm going to block your Nexus with my own hatchery. Now, I believe I think the optimum number of probes to pull is 5. I'm not quite sure. I think it's 5 probes with the Zealot. But that's going to go ahead and just pull 4. And that is going to be enough to get the cancel with Ragnarok. He probably could have actually let it finish, but either way, he is going to go ahead and save those minerals instead. And ZEST will be following up with 2 adepts on the other side. We do see that link speed has started, but it's not going to be quite done yet before these 2 adepts arrive. So he's going to have to make sure to have some links and a queen to defend the mineral line at the very least. And it's going to be hard for him to mine off at the very least of the second base, because there's just quite an amount of distance between the main and the third. He's going to have to wait for link speed to finish before he can start mining off of that second base. Alright, looks like Stargate is the tech of choice once again here for ZEST. ZEST being so comfortable opening up with Stargate, and of course Stargate is really safe actually, and it could actually deviate to many different paths, so I don't blame him for going for Stargate opening these past 3 games. And oh no, losing a transferring drone there, losing 3 drones in total, and these adepts will stay alive. Oh, let's get surrounded, but with a nice shade, it should retreat back home in time. Nicely done there. First Oracle is out and about. Will get spotted here by these lings. Spore Calls are already being thrown down here for Ragnarok. He's kind of premeditated this already. Let's see how many drones this Oracle can take. Don't expect very much, as the Queen and the Spore is already up. Oh. Okay. Does get out with 22 life. Oh, interesting. ZEST going for the Twilight Console, but this time not going for that glaive upgrade. Going for charge off the bat, adding that robo. So he's adding a bunch of gateways. Will we see a kind of a charge lot Archon timing with maybe some Immortals mixed in? Might possibly. Now, I gotta say that this map isn't the greatest for a timing push down the middle. Only because there is a ramp upwards that, you know, Ragnarok can take advantage of and get the concave on. But if ZEST actually comes through this side right here, maybe you can get some force fields out. Although it's gonna be pretty hard still. But that might be the better attack pathing. But we shall see. Maybe ZEST is just going for a safety gateway. The safety gateways. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. That's a lot of gateways. That's 8 gateways in total. Oh boy, this is going to be a chart follow up here. And Ragnarok, yeah, he has no idea that this is happening. He is actually going for a Nidus network. He thought it was going to be a 3 Stargate Void Ray play. Oh no, that is so unfortunate, especially since Ragnarok, you know, being creative with that hatchery block, but wasn't able to quite follow up, wasn't able to scout what ZEST was going for. Now, that is one of the things about this romanticide map, right? The main base is so huge that you're gonna have to need overlord speed in order to get some adequate scouting. Unfortunately, with the Void Ray killing those overlord, him not getting overload speed, just wasn't quite aware of what ZEST was going for, and just kind of dies outright, as he just didn't quite expect it. I don't think he kind of noticed the Warp Prism moving out as well, so ZEST going up 2-1 in the series is one game away from clinching the series. And we'll see if he can do so in this next map, which will be on Pillars of Gold. Bitterwood saying ZEST beating his foes with pure handsomeness. Of course. Of course. I feel personally that ZEST is one of the most handsome pro StarCraft players out there. I mean, in the parallel universe, I think he could pass on as a male model for a clothing line. I mean, all his clothing is so cool looking. He got really great fashion sense. Anyhow, talking about fashion sense, talking about this cool Protoss here in the top left, oh no, sorry, top right corner of the map is the red Protoss playing for Raise Your Edge Gaming. Give it up for ZEST. And spawning here at the bottom left corner of the map, he is the blue Zerg player looking to tie up the series. Can he do it? From Alpha X, it is RAGNAROK. ZEST this time is going to successfully get that hatchery block. Will force RAGNAROK to take that 6 o'clock base. And yeah, these past 3 games, ZEST has gone for that Stargate opening. You would think that he's probably going to go for the same opening. I mean, it has worked out 2 out of the 3 games so far. So I wouldn't be surprised if he'd gone for it once again. Really, I feel like this is gonna really come down to RAGNAROK getting some good scouting. Somehow, some way, he needs to scout in to make sure what ZEST kind of follows up with. Because the Stargate play really can kind of branch off to different pathways, that you gotta scout in with the Overlord, even if you gotta sacrifice it to make sure what ZEST is following up with. And we see the first initial adept will be making its way across the map. And once again, going for that same opening. Alright. First unit out of the Stargate will be the Void Ray once again. There isn't that Overlord here at the top or at the right side here. Actually gonna go ahead and back out. Of course, Void Rays can definitely kill those Overlords. So if you can kind of realize that and just kind of back out, at least you save one Overlord and not get supply blocked. In the early game, the thing the Zergs really want to make sure is not to lose their initial Overlords and get supply blocked. Because you don't want to be spending 100 minerals in the early game remaking that and replacing that Overlord, right? Because at that point, you want to turn that into drones, get that economy up and running without any hinge. All right, looks like ZEST going for that classic 1 ward right into the main base and Oracle into the third. Get that stasis ward, distract the Zerg with the Void Ray. so that he does not react to the stasis ward in time. As you can see, that's exactly what's happening, and gets a nice chunk of those Zerg or of those drones in with the stasis ward. So really nicely done there by ZEST. And as you can see in the income tab, whoop, all the way up for ZEST. And to make things worse, this Oracle does not freeze a bunch of drones, but also get some transferring and drones there. So this Oracle paying for his due, paying for his value. And if he keeps this up, that Mr. Oracle is gonna get a nice pay raise, a nice salary raise for his nice production and his hard work. Oh my god, can he get that drone? Oh, just barely. In the meantime, ZEST going for that classic 3 Stargate play. This time around, no Nidus. No Nidus to hurt ZEST and make him pay for going for this 3 Void Ray play. Now, that's partly due, of course, due to the halted, delayed economy of Ragnarok with that stasis ward, but at the same time, Ragnarok has not really been able to scout. Let's take a look at his vision of his ZEST base. Okay, actually, never mind. He just went in with Overseer, I believe. Just wasn't quite able to go for the Nidus network off the bat. So he is going to go ahead and try to rely on these Hydralisks, getting the Hydralisk range attack, adding the melee attack for those Lings as well, and I presume maybe Banelings later on. Of course, he is delaying the Banelings tech to get that extra Hydralisk production out. But yeah, I think ZEST, once he realized that, he is going to go ahead and start making his way to the High Templars. The High Templars are going to be super effective with those storms against those Hydralisks. So if Ragnarok ever decides to go for a Hydralisk timing, it's not going to be quite working out as well as he wants, as ZEST will have those High Templars getting those energy built up right now. So it's going to probably come down to the late game. It's going to be coming down to how Ragnarok engages into the Protoss army ball. You would presume that it's going to be there's going to be a couple of Void Rays added in, some charge lot, maybe adding some Immortals. But actually, he went for the really fast fleet beacon, so maybe he's going for some carriers off the bat. Yeah, and you know what, this is not actually a bad idea, because ZEST is going to be pretty safe for the time being. It doesn't look like Ragnarok, I mean, he is making some good amount of units here actually, so ZEST don't want to be overestimating Ragnarok's army, but I mean, he does have some storm, he is making some shield batteries, and yeah, I think like ZEST is going to just rely on shield batteries for the time being while these carriers are being in production. Now, the Overseer did get a scout in and was able to see the fleet beacon and the carriers in production. And yeah, that kind of gives him the indication and the signal to start going across the map. And because there is going to be a timing period where ZEST's army is going to be puny compared to Ragnarok until those carrier numbers builds up. ZEST trying to desperately, you see all these cannons, all these shield batteries, and that's exactly what ZEST is going to need to rely on to make sure he doesn't die to this huge attack. And there's a lot of banelings. He is waiting for centrifugal hooks to finish, and centrifugal hooks does finish. Nice storm on that baneling clump, and already things looking starting out pretty well here for ZEST. Getting some really nice storms here, but I think all the storms has been depleted. Does RAGNAROK has still enough to take out this air fleet? And I don't think so. These cannons and these shield batteries does pay off here for the red protons, and RAGNAROK does not